Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Just to make sure everything works, I hope you can hear me fine. For some reason, I cannot see the amount of attendees. Like I see the amount of attendees, but I don't see the name. So if you can just type whatever in the chat, so I would know that you're here. Like where are you from? Which country? Will be interesting to know. And also you can let me know if you ever participated in some of our webinars before. We do them quite often, like every couple of months. And always kind of exciting to see a lot of different countries being represented in the kind of gamification marketing area. And the same here, like, having people from Romania and Sweden. It's always nice to have this international audience. I usually give a couple of minutes, like past 3 o'clock, to enable everybody to kind of sit on board, grab their coffee. UK, awesome. Grab their coffee, grab their notes. Just as a spoiler, I will be showing a lot of different kind of ideas, kind of different campaigns, and I will actually be building them on the spot. So whichever ideas that kind of resonates with you as well, then be sure to kind of write to me after the webinar if you want to have some more clearer examples to be shown specifically about your company as well. And we have people from even far from Africa. Nice. I was actually living in Nigeria for a couple of months. So I see now as the numbers are growing, as people are coming in, then I will still give a little bit of a couple of minutes to have everybody set in. It will probably be around an hour. I'll try to be as concise and as less fluff as possible to kind of have it rather high tempo. So there's a lot to show, there's a lot to discuss, there's a lot of examples to show, but also kind of explaining why the gamification marketing works, going over the case studies, going over the analytics of campaigns that we have launched. But also I really want to kind of show you how simple it is, or how simple can it be to kind of create such campaigns. And all in all, even if you may not be using Adact to create those campaigns, I would be very excited to know that those ideas kind of inspire you, and you can even custom create gamification campaigns. I will be using our own platform to kind of put them together, but the end result can also be custom developed easily as well. Loving the board games behind me. Yes, they're great games. Hope that you played some of them. Hi there, also from Malta. We just had a vacation in Malta. Oh, very, very lovely place. So, for everyone who are here on time, I'll start with a little bit of an introduction. It's 1 past. And just as an introduction, the entire webinar that we're conducting tries to do 2 things. Number one, I want to explain what is it that we're even talking about when we're talking about gamification marketing and like interactive marketing. Why does it work? What are the results? And then also on the spot, I'll be choosing a couple of examples that I will be creating. I have a bunch of different examples kind of prepared, but I will probably not be able to go through all of them. But if there are any specifics that you want me to cover, feel free to kind of shout out in chat, and then I'll try to kind of include them as a priority. But without further ado, this is the how to create gamification campaigns in 20 minutes. Actually, it's going to be less. Actually, I could create the gamification campaign in just like 3 or 4 minutes, as I'm about to show you. But the 20 minutes is like this good approximation. So hi from myself as well. My name is Caleb. I'm the founder of Adact, and I have been doing gamification marketing for well over around 7 to 8 years. And the clients that I have been doing gamification campaigns to are really some of the largest companies in the world. And how I came to then develop Adact was that most those kind of engaging and interactive campaign types that we also did for Volkswagen or Verizon or Caesars Casino and so on, they got very repetitive in their mechanics. So we thought like we should create all of those templates already ready-made and then just let the customers rebrand them without any technical knowledge. Because the game mechanics always work, they're always great, but there's no point of spending months and like 10 to 20,000 euros custom developing one game when you can just take a platform and just drag your design to it and just start reaping in the results. So what are we then talking about? I briefly want to cover that we're talking about two different types of gamification marketing. We're talking about gamified content, which means that where users can interact with your content, whether it's going to be a blog post, whether it's going to be your service offerings, or anything that you kind of put out there. And then we're also going to talk about actual games, games that people can actually play, score points in, while the game's activity and the design is specifically designed around your brand. So the key kind of component, key part to it is the interaction. So for me, gamification marketing really equals interactive marketing. As long as you're not only marketing, but entire communication is interactive, then I will also say it's kind of gamified. But we just have this extra layer of actually introducing actual games and giving out points and leaderboards based on how well people participated. So the key part why this interactiveness works is that it ties together two aspects. It ties together the person's entire focus, because once something is interactive, it is not possible to be experienced without putting your entire focus into it. You can easily watch the series in Netflix and not kind of even understand what's going on because you're also multitasking with something else. But when you're playing a game, it's not possible to play this game while also thinking about other things at the same time. Of course, in some corner cases it is, but the interactiveness gives this key component of focus. And the second part is feedback, where every person that interacts with your content or plays a game that is designed around your content, then you are always constantly able to give them feedback on how well they were doing, whether they're progressing, and so on. So these are the two components, which in turn create massive benefits and advantage when you're trying to do any sort of lead generation or any sort of communication to any of your clients, customers, or even employees. So when we're talking about interactive content, then the activities in those interactive contents can be, maybe you would memorize something. You would ask your audience to memorize something. You would ask them to sort something to a specific order. For example, you will have a game where you will have specific pieces of clothing if you're a clothes store, and the end user will then reorder those pieces of clothing based on the price that they think which is the most expensive to least expensive. So we have an option to just show them all those pieces of clothing, but you also have an option to do this interactively, where users are actually reordering them and actively engaging with your content. The same goes with like guessing, for example, like can you guess how long does it take to manufacture this piece of clothing, or can you guess how long our standard delivery date is? You can just say it that it's 2 days or 4 days, but when you make people guess or actually be a part of this equation, then it creates much better results. And the second part then is the marketing games, where you actually have those activities that you can do. You can either run, for example, if you're marketing like a Duracell battery, then you will have this running mascot of the bunny or whatever is in the Duracell. Well, running with the bunny and collecting points while also communicating the brand that this battery lasts the longest. Or you can just catch some falling objects or Usually they are hyper casual games, which means only interaction is one tap. Each game has to be playable with one tap, and they have to be as simple as possible without any tutorials for people to actually be engaged the most. And if you combine things like scoring and progress and improving and rewards with those activities, then is where all the gamification and interactive marketing comes together. So why does it actually work? Why would we want to use it? Very shortly, it's my most important part is the emotions to memories, which means that gamification and interaction is the only way. Like interaction is the only way to create emotions that create memories. If you just look at something and you just read something while it doesn't provide any emotion, then it's almost impossible to generate any memories. And that's why most of our clients who say that they saw their competitor, someone ever doing this kind of gamified campaigns like 2 years ago, they still remember it, because once you're playing a game, there's some kind of avoidance and risk and reward and some emotion attached to it, which makes you really remember this for not even days and weeks, but months to come. So what are the different types of kind of emotions that we very easily can get out of it? It's, this anticipation where, it's a sample campaign of opening the box where you click on a box and it starts shaking, and it's the anticipation of what's behind the box. Or when you have a wheel of fortune, it's like where the wheel is going to stop. Then you have the excitement. I'm sorry, the images are not moving, but I'll show you them in real time anyway in a second. But it's this kind of a Candy Crush where you will score points and you have this excitement, time running out, you needing more scores, and you're kind of actively engaged to it. And the interest when you have like a Jeopardy game where you're asking different questions, and if you answer correctly, then you can kind of score points in them. If you answer incorrectly, then you lose points. So these are all the different emotions that you can, for example, generate with those campaigns. So as I said, our referrals really remember campaigns almost even 3 years ago. And it's not only days, but months when people really kind of remember your brand and campaigns. So the second very, very important part is very high engagement and very low cost. Very often when I show people our case studies, I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because if I show them the actual case studies, then they don't believe that it actually can be true, because it's not possible that one person, for example, can play this one game for 1,400 times over the course of 8 days. And spending almost 18 hours, almost a full day, interacting with your campaign. But that's true. That's truth. I will show you the actual campaigns as well, how are they built up. But once you launch a specific gamified campaign, you can expect people playing it for hours upon hours on very many different days. And that's the fun fact as well. This specific example was only the 10th most active player, not even the most active player. So as I said, people also come back to play. So they see retention of around 4 to 7 days on average. That means that one person who interacts with your campaign usually comes back on 4 to 7 different days to engage with again. And that really, really lowers the click-through, the cost per click, while also putting the click-through rate very high above the roof. We have seen on average, we see the 4 to 5 times higher click-through rates on gamified campaigns than non-gamified campaigns. And also, we do also provide, for example, an advent calendar where we see a retention of at least 18 days, which is absurd, really. So again, just a short example of like a drop game. It's not moving, but it's in a crypto company that created this drop game where we have to collect crypto icons to score as much as possible. And you can see that person comes back on December 28th, 29th, 30th, 1st, 2nd, and so on, and every time plays and increases the score, which we would like to see a lot. And the last part is it's a major boost to your website activity in general. If you have those campaigns embedded into your website, which you can very easily do, then be prepared to have like really hours upon hours of extra engagement with your website, which is really nothing to undermine. So I'll be actually also showing you some of the analytics first to actually kind of give you a little bit more insight on what results to expect. But then I will be creating some example campaigns. I will be taking the four most, I accidentally add clothing, company twice. The question was, why do I highlight the 10th month active? Because I found it funny that if it's 1,400 times, then you're still 10th most active. The most active one is around like 1,800 and so on. So as I said, it's not only FMCGs and not only marketing that you can do, but we extensively see people using those campaigns for employee engagement as well. And we've seen them happening in very large brands, very large companies, in banks. And I'll be showing you a couple of those examples as well. So let me actually now share my screen so to go over everything. So first of all, what I'll be going over is some of the examples of the campaigns that I was talking about. So I have a couple of analytics open. So each campaign that we launch, they have fully in real time, you can see the actual analytics. Now I cannot scroll down all the way down because it shows the actual gameplays and players, which is against the GDPR. But for each campaign, we see how many times this landing page was visited, how many games were started, by how many unique leads, and what was the bounce rate, how much time did they spend on this campaign, and how many people who clicked start the game ended and completed the entire experience. So here, a couple of things always point out. Number one, with those games, you always see very low bounce rates. It's around 10 to 25% with those games. Second thing that points out is one person on average plays between 7 to 20 times. Here you can see again the 1,000 unique players played it for 9,000 times, so one person played it on average 9 times. This campaign is actually live. I can, for example, show it to you. This is in Estonian, but you will leave your lead information and your leaderboard name. You will have the required checkboxes for GDPR and newsletters. And this is an actual, this kind of a Super Mario type of endless runner where every week amongst the best scorers, you will be, you have a chance to win like 100 euros. Now, this is an actual finance company game. It's a financial kind of institution. So as I said before, with all the examples that I will be showing you, it really doesn't matter from which vertical you come from. Those games can be used in any vertical. So once you kind of, you have 3 attempts, once you run out of lives, then there is also this kind of a game ending screen, where you can also see your place in the leaderboard. You know, this is the leaderboard with all the top 100 players, where it didn't fit in. So we also have some other cases. For example, here we see a match 3 campaign with much more players, twice the amount of players, but 500,000 games started. And with 500,000 games started, or actually like almost 600,000 landing page visitors, we still see the bounce rate at around 14%. So as we can see here, if we have 500,000 games started, then, and the average session duration is 60 seconds, then it's a lot of time spent on this campaign. So again, another one with 3,600 and 100,000 gameplays with a low bounce rate and so on. So these are very kind of regular statistics with a very high gameplay count. So we also do a lot of those Wheel of Fortunes and raffle types of campaigns, which are very effective for lead generation. You know, for some companies, 60,000 leads is a lot. For some companies, it's an average. So each company has their own specific results. But we also do Wheel of Fortunes, digital scratch cards, and other types of campaigns. But in this example, I wanted to kind of explain then how can you actually build those campaigns and how could they look like. So to do that, let me start off with the first example that I wanted to show, which was regarding the FMCG. So let's say you have an FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods brand, right? So, and you want to kind of create this branding campaign out of it. So you could go here and kind of choose which type of engagement you would want to do. In this case, We have a lot of competitive games. We have this kind of feedback and result type of games. We have puzzle games and lottery games. So you kind of think which will suit you best. So let me, for example, choose this drop game. So the entire idea of this kind of a software itself is you can create any type of campaign without any coding and no effort whatsoever. So on the right, you'll see the actual gameplay. You can try and kind of play out. And on the left, you can see all the ways you can edit the game. And with first couple of examples, I'll go a little bit more in depth. And then I will more focus on the various different examples. So we have a chocolate company doing an Easter campaign. So of course, we would want to have eggs dropping into a basket, right? So to do that, we will replace all those images with some eggs. Some different design, differently designed eggs, so it will be a little bit, more unique, more interesting. Let's put 4 different eggs in here. You can say how many points each collects and so on. So now we have those eggs dropping down. Now we can also have another player image. So instead of having our own mascot as Addy, we'll get rid of them and we will add several pictures of a bunny collecting those eggs. Now you can see that first the egg basket is empty. So let's upload this. And on the second image, we would want to have there being 1 egg in the basket. So the more eggs you collect, the more the basket fills up with eggs. Right? You can only use 1 image as well. Right? Now we already have this kind of a game where we have a bunny collecting those eggs. As the score panel, we have this Adact logo. Of course, you can change everything. You can also change this logo, or maybe you didn't even want to use this logo. So now we kind of have the game almost ready. Instead of leads, we are collecting points. So one thing extra you can do is you can design, of course, the entire landing page as well. So if I'll go to the campaign landing page and edit the actual background, which I have to take from, let me take the background from the actual campaign. Sorry. So we have this background. Let's see what the background is. Actually, I can just use the same campaign. As you can see, this entire campaign is now this kind of a fully branded. If you want to change any of the text or any of the letters or any of the images, you can just click on it and start changing all of those texts. Now I will still go to my previous campaign, which I was editing here. So I have this welcome to your interactive marketing campaign, which I will be changing to this. I will also take the background image here, and then I'll show you the end result in a second. So here's the background image. And let me upload it here. So this is just one example how you can create very quickly your own customized this kind of a drop game. Now here, if I actually go to this campaign site, I can already see how it looks and how it works. I'll ask my email, my full name, and let's play. And this is the actual campaign. So of course, we're scoring points, which means all of the games have a leaderboard as well. So here, this campaign idea was that between all the players who are in top 100, they will be raffling out specific candies, specific merchandise, and so on. So just a quick example on how to, for example, do this kind of a drop game together. But let's say you are a clothing company, and it doesn't make sense for a clothing company to maybe do this kind of a drop game, and you would want to do something else. So for clothing companies, we see a lot of different personality tests being used very often. So let me open one up. So here, as a clothing company, you can also have an interaction, but this interaction now is a personality test. So let's see how it kind of looks like. We have this company, And the quest is to find the best style for you by answering 5 questions. Now let's go. So which style do you like the most? You will be kind of making your options, making your choices. And based on how you made those choices, we will give you a result. And you can edit this result and edit everything about it in the software itself. So when you go next, then you can also go to the actual website where those kind of your style pieces of clothing exist. So these kinds of personality tests are very good because every time someone finishes this entire interaction, then every time you also know exactly how did they answer, and if you ever do some kind of lead generation or lead nurturing afterwards, you know exactly which leads chose which options. So as I said, it's not only marketing, but there's also a very high volume of employee engagements. And what I say when I say employee engagements is when you are working as an HR in your company, and then you would want to maybe educate your employees on specific benefits that your company offers. Now, we have seen that a lot of times those benefits come with just a plain text document, right? But these things don't work as well as gamified interactions would. So let me go back here and create a new campaign. And in this time, I'll be creating a Jeopardy campaign. And the idea of this campaign is to educate our company's employees of how to take out vacations, for example. So again, once I created this campaign, we have this game set up with 3 different categories with 100, 200, and 300 point questions. Once a player clicks on any of these questions, we will have a specific question coming up. So if we want to edit anything here, the only thing we'll have to do is just edit the questions here. So instead of this question, we will be asking, how much notice do you have to give if you want to take out a vacation? And bear in mind, this goes to all the company employees, and I will have an actual case study, an actual example how they use it as well. So we can have options like 1 week, we can have options like 2 weeks notice, or maybe 3 weeks, and say which one of them is correct. That's how we can kind of edit all the questions. And instead of sports, we will be having, let's say, vacation notice as a category. The same thing applies here. We cannot just send this design out. We would want to edit and make it our own. So again, I'll be adding a little bit of a different background here, which suits better this an actual case study that that a company used. We'll have a small background here, and instead of an Adact logo, again, we will be using our own logo, which is Enterprise Estonia. Make it a little bit smaller. And here, instead of this text, we'll be asking, test your knowledge on our company vacation policy, and maybe win company work, or whatever your company can give out. So let's make it a little bit smaller. And fill out registration form here. So furthermore, because we have like this blue and red going on, we wouldn't want to be using this orange as the kind of visual here. So instead of the orange, we'll have something blue. Now we can have a look at what we did. We have a company who is able to now send out via newsletters or something a questionnaire as a game, maybe score at least 1,000 points to be able to be eligible for the prize, and you will have your vacation questions that we just added here. So these things can also be done much more creatively. For example, we have another bank who just does a lot of different employee engagement campaigns, which are very much related to kind of company benefits. So let me show you this Actually, I can have it here. Let me show you how they set it up. This is the link. So they set it up very creatively. Although it's in Estonian, the idea is let's continue to introduce you with the benefits of working in our company. So let's start. So first, you will have the first game that really communicates that on specific days you will have the fruit collecting day, where all fruits in the company are free. So you'll have to collect all the fruits, but avoid all the hamburgers. Now, they will take this score and carry it over to the next game. As you can see, here now we are explaining why did you just now play the game, and let's go to the next game. So the next game in this order will be a scratch card. Again, they're using scratch card not in a way of winning a prize, but scratch to introduce some benefits in the company. This benefit specifically asks how is your mood, because this company provides free psychological counseling sessions per year. So let's go further. Now we have those options. You just click, how many times do you snooze your alarm clock? Which kind of describes you better? Are you doing overtime and so on? And again, we are actually introducing you that once you have finished your trial period, you can use 3 days just for your health. And then you will go to the next game, where we now introduce a Jeopardy with specific questions. So that is how those campaigns can also be used on specific kind of employee engagement strategies. I'll quickly jump here. What was the point? Yes, sorry, I cannot see the questions while I'm presenting. This was specifically to generate leads, generate awareness, but also create the competition and create a marketing campaign around this competition. The major priority is still to generate leads, and this performs very well in the lead generation part. So we can also go further. So there's a lot of people asking, is it possible to use, like, our company is not very kind of trendy, or we're more this kind of a not that innovative company, and can we still use it? We're dealing with finances or some kind of a boring topic. Then of course you still can. A very large part of our client base are actually crypto and finance companies. The same money example that I showed you, the running game, or we also have companies like Change. Let's see here. So Change Invest, again, a crypto company, but actually creating this kind of a Candy Crush game, or sorry, this is a Wheel of Fortune, where in a Wheel of Fortune, they will be giving out specific amount of crypto, given that you have already made the initial deposit. And they are checking it in here. They will be collecting your email that is associated to Change account, and then you have a chance to win some crypto. But of course, you can do other stuff. You can do, for example, a Candy Crush with this crypto. Now, how high can you score in 30 minutes, or sorry, in 30 seconds, and the top 100 scorers will get, free crypto or something. So those campaigns have been very, very successful. The same thing that I noticed here before, if we're taking one of them open, this kind of a Candy Crush campaign, then we again see there's almost 20,000 leads, but they have been playing for 500,000 times with a very low bounce rate. So I would say the Candy Crush team type of game is probably the most engaging. But it also unlocks a totally new avenue of marketing, because usually it's very hard to generate some ideas on, it's Halloween coming up, but how can you create a game in Halloween that is related to crypto or finances? And that's the best part of gamification marketing, is you can always create this association. You can always leverage different holidays or real world events and just present them through a lens of a game. So here, for example, if we're looking at Halloween, so again, this is a crypto company, but now they can actually leverage Halloween as a marketing campaign and kind of create this this kind of a whack-a-mole game where you have to only collect the specific crypto icons, but not any other. So there's also crypto companies and financial companies who have been doing trivias and Jeopardy games very successfully. So just to see a few, we have this Bybit. I think this campaign was the same Crypto Fresh, but as you can see, it's completely differently designed, completely different competition, and this is truly their own design and own game that they kind of launched. But we also have campaigns from larger banks. So let's see what, for example, LHV did. So LHV, the same thing, this kind of a Jeopardy game where you will have different topics like frauds, investments, and loans. And behind every topic, there is a specific question. So they would use this campaign, direct people to this traffic. Oh, sorry, this campaign is ended now. I cannot demonstrate it. But all of the games that I'm showing you, they can be used either on a separate landing page. So for example, this game, let me see if it's still open. I can pause it later. So you can use it as a separate landing page and you will just direct people to here. Or you can take this campaign and embed it into your own site or embed it into your own application. So both of those things work, and you can also do and embed those games into digital banners. So we also have one very often asked questions is regarding B2B. Can you use those campaigns in B2B? And absolutely you can. I've always said that that the campaigns are still played by people, and behind every company there is a person. Now, if you, as long as you can attract the attention of that person behind the company by giving your message across, then you have succeeded. But most often, what companies tend to do is still do those kind of a raffle type of games. So, for example, we have a B2B raffle type of campaign as a Wheel of Fortune. Again, these are expired campaigns, old campaigns. I cannot show those that are actually alive and with the real data. So this is, for example, a scratch card campaign. So they would launch this campaign and they will distribute it via emails to all of their existing B2B leads. And they will say to kind of, the messaging is to kind of put this kind of a prize raffling in works to your own business. So the prizes that people can win here, which are also all specified here, are specific discounts on business packages, like 50% of discount for, you know, for this internet to your office and so on. But you also have this ability to win, for example, an iPhone. So people come here, leave their registration data and see what they want. So there's a lot of times used in B2B as well. So don't need to kind of be worried about that I'm in B2B, I cannot use such campaigns. I'll take 1 second to understand whether anyone has a question. Okay, so there's a couple of questions. I'll take a minute to answer them. Are we where is it? Okay, are we going to go over pricing of the platform? Very briefly, I can say that we do run on a yearly or a half-yearly license, so you can create any number of those campaigns that you wish throughout your license period. But the licensing cost itself really depends on the number of number of leads you plan to generate. So it can be anywhere from 5K to 30K. So it's very independent. Do you have an example of SaaS companies using gamification campaigns to influence demos? We don't actually have examples of those, but it's a very good idea and very good kind of way to, again, think outside of the box. I would really need to know what is the exact SaaS company who would want to use it, and then I can help you also brainstorm some ideas. How can it be beneficial? Have we worked with the telecom and tech brand? Yes, we work very often. For example, Tele2 is a telecom brand, and another very large telecom brand is Bitte, who has generated, you know, almost 200,000 leads with the campaigns they have launched with us. And we're also now starting to work with Verizon, but I cannot show you any Verizon cases right now. How do you deploy the game once you've created on the platform? It's actually very easy on all of the games. If you just go to your game editor, in the settings, here is one line of code. Once you copy paste it into our website, then it appears wherever you want it to appear in the website. Very quick example of it is here in our own website. Where can you use Adact campaigns? So you can use it as a branded landing page, where you will have a link where people can access it. Or here I have embedded the same game into our own platform. So in our own website, we can now play the same specific game. So both options are equally possible. Example of ads and what traffic can they run on? Yes, absolutely. So I actually have, let me show you this slides. Start presentation and turn screen share off and start. So far, I'm not going to go over through all of those topics here, but for example, how do people then advertise those campaigns? That is the reason why we have 5 times higher click-through rate on banner ads, is because, let me move myself out of the way, is because you can utilize and leverage those play and win type of messagings, or you can utilize any type of challenging messaging, like are you up to a task or so on. And those campaigns and those wordings are much more kind of beneficial and much more higher click-through rates than just saying that we just launched a new product and something like this. There are also, let me skip over this part, and I'm sure, let me check real quick if we have more examples. Nope, not on this presentation. There's one more example, but it's so far off that I'm not gonna go there. But all in all, you can also, in this software itself, you can set all the banner images and everything. So what is being shown when this campaign is shared. Do we have any data whether the difficulty of the game helps with retention? Yes, we have this data. I cannot just, okay, so I don't have the actual numbers, but we have done a lot of analysis, and we know that the player has to end the gameplay at a moment where they feel that it's getting a little bit tough. The simplest the game is, the worse are the retention numbers. So never be afraid to actually challenge your players. The more difficult the game is, the better retention and the better replayability. Of course, it cannot be absurdly difficult, and the difficulty always has to increase. With scratch card type of games, how do you handle the prize-win ratio? So only a few people win the grand prize. So in our software, and I can show it to you very quickly. If at any time, let me log into my software. So let's say you would want to create this digital scratch card. You will come here, or let's say Wheel of Fortune. You will come here, and here we have the Wheel of Fortune with the default design. Here you can just choose how many sectors do you have. You have 3 sectors or 4 sectors and so on. And here you will add your prizes. So let's say I have this, I don't know, 10 euro voucher as one prize. I will be giving out 1,000 of them, 10,000 of them in total, but each day not more than 100. And this prize winning probability I can set to, let's say, 20%. Now I will only have to go back to the game and say that sector 1 will win this prize. And now it's done. 20% of the time the wheel will stop here. And that's how simple it is. Actually, those raffle type of games are one of the most complicated in logic, but we have taken care of all the logic, so you don't have to kind of worry yourself about it. Can we create a new game on the platform? So one thing with those games that we use in this platform are we have all tried and tested all of those games beforehand. We know that they work. I also teach game design, and I have been using those games that I know that work. So all of the games in the platform, you can rest assured, bring very good results. Now, once someone has a license in our platform, we're very happy if our customers kind of engage us with new ideas as well, and engage us with ideas that they would maybe want to use, or which type of games they want to see. And then we will develop those games based on this feedback. Now, there are a lot of new games coming up right now as well. There's Wordle coming up. There's community challenges where you can have a community competition on different images and videos, for example, and so on. So we are constantly launching new games. So where do all these collected leads get stored? This is a very good question. So number one, by default, as I said, you will have access to all of the analytics. And by that, I mean that in the analytics, if I have any specific campaign, so let's say this is my random campaign. So here is where all the leads are stored. This is my email address. That's why I can kind of show it to you. So you can have access to all of the gameplays here, and you can later anonymize them if you're done using them. You can then export them or import them specifically. If you want to get them straight into HubSpot, this can also be done. We have integrations with Zapier. So once you just plug it into Zapier, then all of the leads who are generated here get automatically sent to HubSpot. And actually, whichever type of I was not sharing my screen, but I'll do it still in a second, so you will be able to see. So in the analytics, you have all the lead information here. As a GDPR compliance part of things, we are just the processors of the data. We are not allowed to do anything with the data, and we can only see the campaign data that we personally did, or if you give us permission to have a look for some maintenance reason or whatsoever. You are always the controllers of the data. It's up to you what you want to do with them, or how you want to use them later. But just from our side, we have to get rid of all the data at some reasonable amount of time. But as I said, you can just set up a HubSpot integration and send them all into HubSpot. So so can we link or integrate your platform to our tech stack? It's just not required. We have our own API, which means that all the games that, if you have your own kind of user base and you want your own user base to interact with our games, then you can just plug it into our API. But there's actually no kind of specific kind of upside of integrating it with the tech stacks specifically. So I think I went through most of the questions. I still have a little bit of a time, so I'll share the presentation once more. Start presentation. So as I said, the gamification kind of part is really intense for everybody. Our own companies, we can see we have mini campaigns. We have Air Baltic, flight attendants. We have Disney. Sports leagues are very good kind of companies or branding materials to use those games in. Food places, fast moving consumer goods, crypto, finance, media. It doesn't really matter as long as you want to give your message out and as a kind of effective way as possible. Then always gamification works. So a lot of questions about the pricing. So the pricing literally works by just having one-time payment for a year for a license. You pay that, and you can use all of the campaigns that we enable, and also all the future campaigns that we ever bring to the platform as well. The pricing runs on a yearly license, so that goes throughout the year. I cannot give you the specific price because we have customers who are paying anywhere from 5,000 to 50,000. It really depends on the amount of volume that you want to achieve with those campaigns, and the amount of volume that that our analytics have to be able to kind of process. So if you want to know specifically about your kind of type or your company pricing, do give us like get into contact with me, and I'm happy to go over your specific examples as well. So also with the pricing and with the license, it's not that we'll just give you the platform, but we'll also start brainstorming with you together on which could be the first games to choose. And I have enough knowledge on how to create those games that I'm very happy to kind of brainstorm together with you on how and which games to choose. So how to create one, basically, very shortly, if you ever want to create any of those games, always initially think of the purpose of the game. Do you want to introduce a new service? Do you want to just generate leads? Do you want to give out specific prizes? Do you just want to engage your existing customer base? What is the purpose? And then from that, we will think of the actual interactions which you should use, whether it's a game or a raffle or a questionnaire. And then we'll just put the design together. So that's how you kind of very quickly, we can generate a lot of ideas. Also, a very common question, do you have any data about which types of users play more? A lot of people tend to think that it's like youngsters or kids. Actually, that is not true. The most, just as a vacuum, in a vacuum, the most active players are women aged between 28 and 45 are the most active players. Of course, it depends on how do you do your marketing. If you market your campaigns to only men, then only men at the specific age range will interact and will only see your campaign. But this is like who enjoy those games the most. So a couple of kind of hacks, tips, and tricks how to kind of actually use those, how to come up with those ideas. So what is it that you're trying to promote? So if you're trying to promote the product, then whether this product is a new product or an existing product, it really generates two different types of game kind of qualities. If you're promoting a service, then we need to realize whether you're promoting its service qualities or its uniqueness. And then what are you trying to achieve? Whether you collect leads, awareness, knowledge, and is there any benefits that we can utilize from the timing? Are there any holidays going on? Is there a presidential election going on, or any kind of theme that we can build the game around? Once we have answered all of those questions, then we will go into actually kind of helping you decide on the interaction. And that also requires to know what you already have. Do you have some kind of a mascot or some visuals or texts or anything that will help us to kind of pinpoint what the perfect game mechanic would be? And then you start brainstorming. So for example, if you have a mascot, then let's make that mascot act. And if there's a Christmas theme, why not have this mascot collect something, either snowflakes or something, or have a Santa Claus flying on a Flappy Bird game whose goal is to deliver the gifts which are your specific products. If we have a product and we want to communicate this product's strength, then very good way to hit it, communicate strength is to hit it with something. So let's create a whack-a-mole game where your product comes up and you have to hit it. And this theme is to promote the strength of this product. Or if you want to promote maybe a durability of a product that is very long lasting, then we will have a game where the longer you can last, the better your result. Either it's through running or flying or jumping, but the longer you survive, the better your results. And these are some couple of ways you can kind of promote specific qualities of a product through a game. If you want to promote the service and its uniqueness, it's always great to have this kind of a did you know or personality type quizzes or Jeopardy games, which you can kind of, where you can relay a lot of information, but in a little bit more interesting way. So all sorts of quizzes and personality tests are very, very good. Now, there's also a question of, is there an additional fee for your time alongside of your platform license? If we're talking about the initial campaigns, then no, it's also included. It's not that we like literally build and come up with everything, but I'm always happy to have a discussion to help you decide, to give my own ideas, or some of our team member will get in contact and will give you their ideas of what to do. And as long as there's this kind of a license, then there's no additional fee associated. Can you put the game into mobile apps? Absolutely, you can. Through web views, you can just show a web page that opens the actual game. So as we are slightly running out of time, I would like to, I'm very sure that there's a lot of questions and a lot of kind of ideas of whether I could use it or whether some of those games fit really me. I'll put a link here, and if you want to have a specific discussion on this specific topic, then you can click on this link. You can choose any time that kind of suits you, and I'm happy to kind of go over one by one whether this kind of a campaign will like you, or this topic will fit your brand and fit your company. But also another part is we do have a free trial as well. The free trial lasts for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, you can go to the platform and start kind of playing around with all the different game types and all the different kind of interactions that we offer. If you want to activate your trial, then there is another link that you can go to, which is app.adact.me/join. I'll put it in as an offer as well. So add a new offer. So it allows you to, for 2 weeks, you don't have to pay anything. You'll just kind of set up your account and out of this. Publish. Here. You can just set up your account and for 2 weeks kind of explore around. If you have any questions, then also be sure to kind of let me know, and I'll happy to have an individual discussion. So, do we notice any more questions? Right now, it feels like we don't. If there are any specific type of campaigns you would like me to show right now, you can also let me know. I can come up with, or I can actually, if you want to, if you're thinking whether I could, whether your brand could use it, you can give me your brand's homepage, and I can kind of build a campaign to your specific brand, even during this webinar, like in 5 minutes. Or you can just send me an email or the demo request, and we can do it one by one as well. For now, let me see if there's any other questions or clarifying information. I will send you the presentation. I'll send you a couple of examples after the webinar, and then we can also carry the individual discussions from there. How should B2B companies use? In marketing, it's the same thing. Usually, the B2B companies do all sorts of raffles, also Wheel of Fortunes, all different kind of plinko games to kind of give out the prize, but the prize is just oriented to a specific business benefits. So yeah, we have a lot of B2B cases as well. Happy to go over those cases over a demo call or a video call. So thank you everybody for joining. I will move you. Yes, I will move you to the demo link. But if you want me to get in touch with you to get a personal kind of call, then just let me know. Write to me at kalo@adact.me, and I will talk to you there. But for now, you can just choose a time of your convenience. So thank you for joining, and until next time, my name is Kalo.